Today you'll learn 6 easy ways to make people laugh and love being around you. The first is to play dumb. One way you can do this is to purposefully misunderstand something obvious.
Do you know what this is? Okay,
Yeah, you're supposed to. It's
I
like,
haven't taken a lot of pregnancy tests in my day. In fact, like almost none. I did pee on it, so don't look at the
so
pee
do you
part.
have COVID or no? Like, what's...
The key here is to act so oblivious, it would be impossible to miss that you're joking.
You screen tested for Iron Man. Was that the original Iron Man, or is it one of the sequels that you screen tested for?
I'm not aware of the ins and outs. I know that there was a day.
You don't know
in
which one you auditioned for?
Just don't ruin the story.
Okay.
I know that wonderful actor Robert Downey Jr. and I, we screen tested on the same day. And I'm still waiting to hear back. And
As you just saw, playing dumb is a great way to get a laugh anytime someone asks you about something that didn't go well. It can help transform a potentially awkward or negative conversation into a playful one where you look confident and fun. Now, if all you do is play dumb and conversation, it will get stale fast. So you want to mix it in with some of the other jokes in this video for the next easy way to make people love being around you. Watch this clip of Dwayne Johnson answering the question, how tall is Kevin Hart?
Okay, is this the legit answer because I know it, or is this, do I fuck with you on this? Which one?
I think you should go for what you know.
Well, I'll go for what I know.
Yes.
Legit answer, legit, because I know you're my best friend. 4'2".
That's
Right? That's legit.
Hey!
That's an example of a sincerity fake-out. You set expectations that you're going to say something sincere. Then you undercut those expectations for a laugh. Now, you don't want to do this all the time. It's important to be sincere when you want to connect with someone, but especially if the conversation is feeling a little boring. A sincerity fake-out is a great way to make people laugh and create a more fun vibe. Here's one more example, this time with Ryan Reynolds answering a question about how he got involved with aviation gin.
Comic and feeling like this is a once-in-a-lifetime connection. And then a few years later, I met my wife, and I was like, oh, I guess a once-in-a-lifetime connection can happen twice. And then, and then we had our children, and that's when I realized that I love gin.
You just saw a great way to set yourself up to make people laugh, the 3-point list. Set your joke up by listing off 2 genuine things, and then make the third thing you say an obvious joke. You can use this joke in almost any small talk conversation, specifically when someone asks you something like why you like your job or what you do for fun. In this next flip, Nikki Glazer uses this joke when describing what makes her inner beauty.
I can't trust that someone's gonna see my inner beauty in line at CVS if I have no makeup on. They're not gonna sense that I'm a good friend or I'm funny or I do anal. They're not gonna know any of my best traits just by...
This joke gets a laugh because it plays with people's expectations. You deliberately lead them one way and then surprise them with an unexpected twist.
I want guys to feel good about it because you can have a good relationship with a guy with a micropenis. There's obviously ways around it. You have toys, you have your hands, you can cheat on him. There's things that you... No, you deserve love like anyone else, and I would be with you.
Once you've established a playful vibe like this, there's another easy way you can make people laugh exaggerate so much it's impossible to take you seriously for an example of what this looks like. Listen to Theovan and Joe Rogan talk about the time Theo went 4 days without food.
How much weight did you lose?
I probably lost about 4 pounds, pounds I needed too. You
Wow.
know? But I got clear, man. I could hear, swear to God, y'all could hear somebody fold a piece of bread from 80 feet away, bro. I was so hungry, dude. I could hear a skittle hit the cement across the street.
Almost any time you want to get a laugh, you can just describe something using over-the-top exaggeration for another example. Listen to Tim Dillon talk about the Ellen workplace controversy.
You're allowed to be nasty to people. You're accomplished. You're a comedian. You did the whole thing. What you're not allowed to do is have a Guantanamo Bay situation in the backstage of your show where everybody's walking around afraid for their life and it's like Abu Ghraib where they're hooked up to wires.
This is especially powerful if you're being negative in general. No one likes to listen to someone complain, but if you use over-the-top exaggeration, you can make it fun for the people around you. For example, listen to Ryan Reynolds discussing working with a child actor for the first time.
Yeah, you know, I was nervous. I mean, you know, when you're working with a child actor, you first thing you think is, I want to take my life with fire.
Right.
You know, there's that.
Let's talk about arguably the most charismatic joke you can make, a joke that elevates the other person.
I get a sense that your fan bases are quite competitive with each other.
No, really?
Who do you think's winning?
I lead his fan base. I'm the founding member of that one too.
And they're calling for a Loki movie.
It's very...
We are.
We are.
Most people do the opposite of this. They combine you with a tease that puts the other person down like this.
I would marry him so hard and quickly.
You don't marry somebody hard.
I would marry him all night long.
I would marry him till he's sore. No, you don't marry. That's not. Don't what? You said it.
Playful teasing can absolutely make people laugh. But if this is your only form of humor, it can leave the person wondering if you actually like them on the flip side. If all you do is tell jokes that elevate other people, you're on the risk of seeming like a suck-up. It's when you mix complimentary jokes in with other styles of humor that people will really like being around you. If you aren't sure exactly how to make jokes that elevate other people, start with your trusty new habit of over-the-top exaggerations.
What about you, Chris? Are you an app guy? No? Really? You don't need them. Your life is Tinder. Your life's Tinder. You just walk down the street, and women walk towards you, and you just swipe right if you want them, and you swipe left if you don't.
On the flip side, when making jokes about yourself, a great way to make people laugh is self-deprecating humor. Most people do the opposite of this. They tease other people and try to make themselves look good. This can work, but you run the risk of hurting people's feelings and looking like a try-hard ironically when you poke fun at yourself. You can make yourself look extremely likable and confident. Here's an example of this done well, with Hugh Jackman talking about his dad.
No matter anything I've ever done, acting-wise, he says exactly the same thing. Hugh, wonderful work. Van Helsing, it just really...
Van Helsing got terrible reviews, and he was willingness to joke about it. Gets everyone around him laughing. If you worry that this will make you look bad, start by teasing yourself for things you aren't actually insecure about that way. If other people double down on your joke, it won't hurt your feelings that said this is just a guideline. And once you're comfortable with these jokes, you can joke about whatever you want.
Let's be honest, it was a difficult part. A guy who gets high, takes his shirt off, and doesn't get on with his wife. It's a big stretch. It's big.
Most people are scared to make jokes like this because they want to look perfect so that people will like them. But people don't judge you for having imperfections. They judge you on how you perceive your imperfections by joking about them. You show that you're confident being seen as you are now. One good general habit when you're making a joke at your own expense, smile. This lets other people know it's okay to laugh. For example, watch Bill Burr tell Joe Rogan a story where he has to apologize to his wife for an angry outburst.
I put my head to the side of her head and I just go, I'm sorry. I don't want to tell you, you married a up. You blew it. You're not good at reading people.
At the end of the day, for teasing yourself or teasing others, it all comes down to your intention and where you're coming from. If you're insecure and teasing yourself because you're in a race to do it before other people do, that will come through. If you're insecure and teasing other people to try to bring them down, that comes through too when you're teasing yourself or someone else purely to have fun, not trying to play a weird social hierarchy game. Then you can naturally flow between the two, and people will sense your intention is simply to create a fun conversation.
Do you want to trade blazers? Maybe yours will look nice.
Yeah, no, mine's more valuable.
No, you got no problem. No, it's like... Actually, maybe not. No. One of the...
Definitely not.
There you go. No.
Yo.
In today's video, you'll learn 8 habits that make people love being around you, with examples from a celebrity that seems almost universally loved, Pedro Pascal. The first trait that makes Pedro so popular is his endearing embarrassment. When most people get accused of something embarrassing, they react with awkward silence or try to deny it. They don't realize this is actually an opportunity to make people like you more. Here's how to do it.
Do you ever look at Instagram accounts devoted to you being a heartthrob when you're feeling down?
Yes, I do.
It really is that simple. You can turn embarrassing moments into charismatic ones just by laughing at yourself. Plus, if you laugh at yourself, first, you save the people around you from feeling awkward by inviting them to laugh with you. Here's a great example where Pedro can't think of anything to say when he laughs at himself. It saves the awkward silence and gets his co-star to laugh.
Is Nathan Fillion really Pedro Pascal? I think Pedro Pascal is really Nathan Fillion because... Is Pedro Pascal... Is Pedro Pascal...
You just saw another charismatic habit you can do to make people enjoy being around you. Play laugh tag. Add a touch when you laugh. Research shows that a welcome touch builds trust and connection and conversational high points, like when you're both laughing, are a great time for it. One danger here. Not everyone likes being touched, so you want to calibrate your touch to how well you know the person. And if they touch back, a good way to start is with a simple hand on the forearm. Here's an example with Pedro, where he purposely ruins the take and then teases his director Neil with a line the director used to say to him.
And done. You gotta do that again. Take number 7.
Did you literally
love it? You loved it. He loves it. Do it again.
Did you notice how Neil initially looks a little aggravated at Pedro's joke? But when Pedro laughs and touches his forearm, Neil smiles. The forearm touch is great for people you don't know well with someone you already know and are building a closer connection with. You can also use Pedro's favorite laugh tag, the head on shoulder.
Don't do drugs. Nope. Without me.
Totally joking here, kids.
Now let's go into a super easy habit if you want to make other people laugh. See if you can guess what it is from this next clip.
Anyway, I read the first script and I was like, yeah, I want to meet him. Yeah. And we talked, we fell in love, and...
Pedro could have just said, "We get along really well," but instead he speaks in hyperbole. Exaggeration makes people laugh, especially when you exaggerate so much. It's impossible to take you seriously in this next clip. Bella and Pedro are asked how much of themselves they put into their characters in The Last of Us. Listen to how Pedro compares himself to the almost superhuman character he plays.
I think it's just a natural, merging of two people. And it helps when, I'm quite similar to Ellie, so that was helpful.
I am exactly like Joel.
You saw there how easy this is to do. It only takes 5 words for Pedro to get the whole group laughing. This bleeds into another joke. Pedro loves that you can also steal the fake narcissist joke. We all know people with annoyingly big egos. Pretending to be that person for one sentence is a great way to get a laugh. For example, listen to Pedro Tryman after Poppy DeLeving shares her reaction to getting cast in Kingsman 2.
It was a dream come true.
It's good you didn't have
I
time to
definitely
think
wept
about
a
it.
little bit. I think I definitely had a little cry. I was
She's
excited.
like, I'm gonna work with Pedro Pascal.
That was it.
Finally.
That was it. That was my lifelong dream.
All 3 Law and Orders.
Again, the key here is to go so over the top. It's obvious that you're joking. Here's a great example with Robert Downey Jr.
I must be mellowing with age, but I want to say this very clearly. The next time I'm not asked the first question, fucking walk out.
You'll get an even bigger laugh with these fake narcissist jokes if you've already established yourself in conversation as a kind, humble person. The easiest way to do this is to raise others up. Pedro has 2 ways of doing this that are super easy to do and will make people love being around you. The first is something that most people will say is obvious, and yet most people don't do. If you find yourself thinking something nice about the person you're talking to, say it out loud.
How do you think about balancing the noble traits that make a character like Joel heroic versus the weaker ones that make him human?
You're smart. I never thought about it that way.
Only in one place on Disney Plus.
That was great.
He's my favorite person.
Beyond vocalizing kind thoughts, you can also raise people up simply by passing the conversational spotlight.
Did you know you wanted to be an actor?
I did. I had that delusion very early. What about you? How early were you like, I'm gonna be on TV?
On TV?
In movies?
It can be as simple as bouncing back the question people ask you. This is so easy to do, and yet so many people don't do it.
What item from the Game of Thrones world would you bring to The Last of Us?
I really loved my robe.
I knew you were going to say it. This is why I said clothing.
Telling you. What about you?
I liked my armor from season 8.
If you're already good at this, then you may have the opposite problem giving up the conversational spotlight too quickly and too often laughing and making other people laugh, being kind and being a likable listener. These are all great traits that will make people enjoy being around you, but they won't feel a real connection with you until they learn at least a little bit about who you are. When it comes to sharing about yourself, a great trick is to use a hook that builds curiosity. Think of a common question that people typically ask you, then think of a hook you can add to the beginning of your answer.
You were born in Chile, right?
I was born in Santiago, Chile, that's right.
And then you were raised, though, in the United States.
I was raised in the United States. My parents became political refugees when I was just a baby.
Wow.
If you aren't sure how to hook people, there are 2 specific hooks you can steal from Pedro. The first is the surprise positive twist. Follow up a seemingly negative sentence with a positive one.
I got my head crushed in. It was the best part of the day.
Other examples of this would be sentences like, I got laid off. It was the best thing that ever happened to me or my girlfriend. Tell me it was the best day of my life. Then there's the second hook you can steal from Pedro, the, I don't know if I should share this hook.
So then my phone rings. I don't think I should tell you the whole true story, but I was going to the...
When it comes to sharing about yourself, there's another great habit you can learn from Pedro. Have a few good go-to stories that you know people love. For example, Pedro loves to share the story of telling his family about The Last of Us.
That day, I spoke to my sister who was driving my nephews to school, and I was on speaker, and I didn't even know that they were in the car, and I was like, I'm having a conversation about this amazing job. And she's like, what's going on? And I said, well, there's this job offer, and it's based actually on a video game. And she's like, yeah, and I said, it's called and I didn't even get to the AST. And I was like, it's called The Last of Us! The Last of Us! You have to do it! You have to do it! You have to get this job! You better get that job!
The next time you tell a story that gets a great reaction, make a mental note to yourself. By having stories, you know, people like you instantly make yourself more fun to talk to than the majority of people out there. People love Tommy Shelby from Peaky Blinders. He's a quiet, introverted character, and at the same time, extremely charismatic. While you don't want to be like Tommy in every way, there are 8 habits you can learn from him to instantly command more respect from the people around you. And even though Peaky Blinders is a scripted TV show, all the psychology covered in today's video will apply to your actual life. Also, this video has a few scenes from season 6, but no spoilers. The first thing that you see from Tommy is that he has slow, relaxed movements. When he isn't physically fighting, he's almost never in a rush. For example, notice how slowly Tommy moves in this next clip and how it instantly gives you the sense that he's above feeling intimidated.
Sis. Talking to you, Mr. Shelby.
When you move slowly and comfortably, in a situation where most people would be stressed, it shows that you don't feel scared or pressured. Along with the slow movements, there's a second body language habit you saw that helps Tommy appear confident. Tommy is comfortable holding eye contact, even during conflict.
He's the oldest, you're the thickest. I'm told the boss is called Tommy, and I'm guessing that's you, because you're looking me up and down like I'm a tart.
I want to know what you want.
When you're gonna die. Right here.
We talked about this briefly in the Alfie video. The one mistake you could make after watching scenes like this is trying to hold eye contact all the time. But holding eye contact during conflict can actually escalate the tension if neither of you is willing to break. So the goal isn't to never break eye contact. It's just to know what your behavior signals to other people. Hold if you want to show you aren't intimidated. Look down if your priority is to de-escalate. And if you want to diffuse the situation without projecting fear or discomfort, you can hold eye contact for 3 to 5 seconds and then break to the side instead of down at a high level. Tommy's ability to command respect in moments of conflict comes from the fact that he's not reactive to hostility. Notice how much confidence Tommy can project without even speaking. Being non-reactive shows you feel confident in your ability to handle whatever is happening. It's hard not to respect someone who keeps their cool in situations where most people would lose it. Here's another funny example of just how non-reactive Tommy can be.
He researches his enemies. That's why he's been chosen.
I am chosen. I'm chosen. Could the chosen one smoke?
This is obviously an extreme example, and hopefully none of us will ever have to deal with trying to keep cool with a gun to our head. But it's a good example of how Tommy's non-reactivity projects confidence under pressure. Of course, the goal here isn't to fake that you're okay while freaking out on the inside. It's to cultivate genuine, deep internal confidence. We'll talk more about how to do that at the end of this video. There is one more quick body language habit you should steal from Tommy if you want to command attention. Specifically in large groups, be as big as your audience, gale up your hand gestures when you're speaking to more people.
But the main thing is, you bunch of f***s, despite the provocation from the cavalry, no fighting.
But it is you, my friends, who must suffer the cuts in wages, and in welfare, and in dignity. And you must not complain, because that would be unpatriotic.
Moving beyond body language, the next way you can command respect is by focusing on how you speak. The first thing you notice about Tommy when he speaks is that his word choice shows conviction. Specifically, when he talks about his plans for the future, he doesn't say, "I hope to," or "I want to," but "I will."
And you will change your ways. And I'll change the world.
Beyond word choice, you can show conviction with just your tone. Many people do the opposite, ending in upward inflection, making statements sound like questions. This gives the impression that you're unsure of yourself. As an example, compare Tommy's tone in this next clip to Gina's.
What are Michael's real intentions towards me, Gina? And if you lie, I will know.
Tommy. He intends to complete the deal. Then you both walk away.
So if you want to show conviction with just your tone, end your statements in a downward inflection, similar to his slow, relaxed body language. Tommy also has a slow speaking cadence and uses pauses between words to hold attention. The pause is the moment when you're not speaking, but ironically, it's the moment you can pull people in. Tommy does this by pausing when you most want to hear what he has to say.
Michael, when you're dealing with a very powerful enemy, taking revenge sometimes requires time. You have to pick your moment. That moment will come.
You may worry that speaking slowly and pausing a lot will lead to people cutting you off. The way you can prevent this isn't by rushing to finish or giving up on your thought halfway through, but by continuing to speak in that same slow speaking cadence until you've at least finished your sentence. Watch this next clip as an example you can model for context. That ticking in the background is a bomb.
Parliament. For this constituency, it is my duty to take responsibility for the welfare of my constituents.
The clock is still ticking.
Consumption of opium is very prejudicial.
Now there's one more important thing to cover when talking about why Tommy Shelby commands so much respect. He doesn't have to shout or raise his voice because either he knows what you desperately want and can give it to you, or he knows what you desperately fear and can prevent it. So his quiet words carry massive weight. As an example, let's go back to earlier in that Chosen One scene when they first threatened Tommy.
You were one decision away from death, Mr. Shelby.
So stop smiling.
Tommy projects confidence because of everything we've spoken about so far in this video. But why is he able to be so calm and non-reactive under pressure? Because he knows he's not actually in danger. Watch why.
Your name is Irene O'Donnell. You have a son at the Cherrywood Road School in Harborne. He has arms on his legs. His name is Sean. He comes last in every race. Poor boy. Poor boy if the race was important.
We touched on this in our first Tommy video, and it's one of his defining features. He wields tremendous power over people using carrot stick motivation. Now, obviously we don't want to be threatening to murder children, so how on earth can you actually apply this to your own life? Well, let's say you want a raise or a promotion from work. A lot of people would just go in and say, "Hey boss, I've been working here a long time. I would really like a raise. Can I have more money?" Very focused on I. Not very persuasive. How could instead you apply carrot stick thinking? You could say, hey boss, I feel like I can add more value to the company and play at a higher level. What would you need to see from me in the next 3 months to promote me? Work with your boss to create a concrete list. Then nail everything on that list. At the same time, go out and get other job offers. In 3 months, you can show all the value you've created for your boss. Carrot. And if they back out from the agreement, you can tell them that you want to stay, but you have other offers that pay more. Stick. No murdering of children involved. Now, while that plan is extremely likely to work, most people don't have the confidence to execute it. You might think that building that kind of confidence will take you a long time, or maybe you even think it's impossible for you, that you could never actually build deep internal confidence. But building confidence is way easier than you think. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch it, and I hope to see you in the next one.